Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be breaking down some of my favorite cash game plays for this Week 4 NFL DraftKings main slate. Like we always do, we'll go position by position, talking about the plays that are sticking out to me. And then to wrap up the video, I got a low-priced option or sub-4K wide receiver play. With that being said, let's dive into this spreadsheet here. And we're going to kick things off here in the spreadsheet like we always do in the top left-hand corner with those highest implied game totals. Some of the totals dropping a little bit here on Friday, but a handful of games that could definitely turn into a shootout. I really think that Bills and Ravens game is going to be popular. And then I got the highest implied team totals listed behind me. You could kind of use that as a reference point as I'm going through some of my favorite cash game plays here. With that being said, let's dive into the quarterbacks, and I'm going to keep it really simple at the quarterback position this week for my cash lineup. I talked about this in my first look video on Tuesday. Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts, I'm going right back to one of these guys again. Now, I certainly don't mind Lamar Jackson at $8,300 right between these guys. Obviously playing against the Bills in Josh Allen, but man, that Bills defense is legit, and they're not even fully healthy right now. So I tend to avoid him in my cash lineup. I prefer Allen or Hurts. But look, if you play Lamar, I have no problem with that whatsoever. I absolutely still like him on the tournament side of things. And really, those three quarterbacks are just dominating the field when it comes to fantasy scoring at the quarterback position. All three of those guys are averaging above 30 DraftKings points per game through the first 3 weeks of the season, where the next closest guy on the main slate is Carson Wentz at 24 DraftKings points per game. And look, I try not to look at the points per game stat too much. Those can be a little bit skewed. I try to look at matchups and whose offenses are playing very well at the time. That's what you can say here about both the Bills and Philadelphia offense, and I love the matchups for these guys as well. Josh Allen playing against Baltimore, whose defense has a lot of talent, but just has not looked very good here through the first 3 weeks. Jalen Hurts going against the Jaguars. He doesn't seem to have any issue scoring points against any defense. So yeah, I'm going with one of these two guys here, likely in my cash lineup. If you go with Lamar, I have no issue with that. And if you're really looking to spend down at the quarterback position, I do think Marcus Mariota is viable at $5,600 playing at home against Cleveland. We then got the running backs here, and you notice I only got 3 listed on the spreadsheet here, no honorable mentions. Again, that's not to say that if you play Jonathan Taylor, I think that's a bad play, or Christian McCaffrey for that matter. I just don't see the need to go there this week, especially with the value that's opened up with Jamal Williams and Khalil Herbert. I do like Saquon here this week. $8,000 is a little expensive, but a really good matchup against the Chicago Bears, who ranked 22nd overall in rush DVOA so far this year. And he just looks to be another popular play here in Week 4. But the real value this week at the running back position is Jamal Williams and Khalil Herbert. We got word here this afternoon that David Montgomery is going to be out on Sunday. That's going to boost Khalil Herbert to the top of the list when it comes to ownership projections, which I don't care about when it comes to my cash lineup. Same thing here with Jamal Williams. DeAndre Swift is listed as doubtful for Sunday, meaning that he should see an uptick in snaps and touches as well. I do believe that we're going to see Craig Reynolds get involved, but Jamal Williams should have close to 20 touches in this game, and he still has that solidified goal line job where he scored 2 touchdowns just last week, and a good matchup here as well, going against the Seattle Seahawks, who ranked 21st in rush DVOA, and Herbert has a nice matchup going up against the New York Giants, who ranked 28th overall in rush DVOA. So it's not often we get value to open up like this at the running back position early in the season, but I'll definitely be taking advantage of it with these two. Like I said, I might only play 2 running backs in my cash lineup this week, but I'm 100% okay playing Saquon as well. Now, folks, before we dive into the wide receivers here, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Again, I got a lot of football content coming out for you guys this year, and a lot of hockey content as well for those of you who play NHL DFS or do some NHL betting, but I appreciate every single one of you who watch these videos. Let's get into these wide receivers here. And kicking things off here with the wide receivers, you're going to notice that I have some higher priced guys. Being that we had some value open up at the running back position, I don't mind spending up for wide receivers. Love Stephon Diggs this week for a lot of the same reasons that I like Josh Allen. That Baltimore secondary has not been good at all through the first 3 weeks of the season. And maybe they figure it out this week, but probably not against one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NFL. Diggs here at $8,400, obviously expensive, but you see there in the notes, this Ravens secondary has allowed damn near 60 DraftKings points per game so far through the first 3 weeks of the season to opposing wide receivers, by far the most in the NFL. Diggs, I believe, is the best route runner in the game, for sure top 3, and should be able to get plenty open in this game. Michael Pittman Jr. also has a really good matchup here going against this Tennessee Titans secondary. Again, you can see in the notes there, they rank 26th overall in pass DVOA, allowing close to 49 DraftKings points per game. Pittman Jr. and this Colts team, they're going to lean on him all year long, just like we saw in weeks 1 and 3, where he racked up a combined 22 targets. Now, obviously, he didn't play in week 2, but this guy's probably locked in close to double-digit targets most weeks, and if he gets that here this week, I love that matchup against the Tennessee Titans. And then I got Courtland Sutton there, and you notice I kind of have a little hesitation going into this pick. I love him on the tournament side of things this week, especially at that price of $6,400. But I also think he's viable for cash lineups. I prefer Diggs and Pittman for what it's worth, but if you need to save that money, Sutton's seeing 27% of the targets so far here through the first 3 weeks of the season. He's 4th in the league in air yards, and that Las Vegas defense has not been very good at stopping the pass, 23rd overall in pass DVOA. So yes, I do prefer these two here at the top, but if you need that price savings, I don't mind Sutton at all. And then if you're really looking to save some money here this week, Romeo Doubs is getting more involved in this Packers offense, to say the least. Was actually leading all wide receivers for the Packers last week in snaps and routes run, and led the entire team with 8 targets as well, and he caught all 8 of those passes, found the end zone. If you watch that game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Aaron Rodgers looked very comfortable throwing the ball to this guy, and at $4,500, I don't mind that at all. We need about, 13.5 DraftKings points in order for him to meet 3x value. I think by all means he's very capable of doing that. Now, this game certainly could be a slow game between them and the Patriots, but again, it comes down to the price and the volume and snaps he played last week, and for that matter, I do like him. And then I got a few other honorable mentions there as well if you're looking to spend down at the wide receiver position. First is Zay Jones of the Jaguars, who's looked pretty damn good in the first 3 weeks here of the season, especially these last 2 weeks here, and I think part of the reason for that is we saw his average depth of target be 10 yards in week 1, and that's dropped to around 5 yards here in weeks 2 and 3, leading to more volume and short targets going his way. I don't, however, love the matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles. That secondary is legit. Now, Mac Hollins, we need to keep an eye on Hunter Renfro's status here in this game. If he misses again this week, Mac Hollins at $4,200 looks really nice. No, I don't expect him to go for 30-plus DraftKings points like he did last week, but should be on the field a lot, should see a handful of targets go his way, even in a tougher matchup as well against that Denver Broncos defense. But again, keep an eye on Hunter Renfro. If he plays, I don't like Mac Hollins as much. And then Richie James Jr. there at $4,000. That entire wide receiver core for the New York Giants is beat up right now. James Jr. very well could lead the team in snaps and routes run this week. $4,000, look, I don't love rostering anyone outside of Saquon in this Giants offense, but again, the price there, I don't mind it. 12 DraftKings points, 3x value. I think he's capable of getting there. Now, folks, just want to take a quick minute here to talk about one of the sponsors on this channel in Lucra. If you have not signed up for Lucra yet, it is completely free to get started today. In fact, we're actually giving users $25 just to get signed up. All you need to do is scan the QR code on the screen right now. That's going to download the app for you, include my referral code in GRIFF, GRIFF, and give you $25 in free play money. Now, you can use that free play money to compete against anybody, friends, family, someone random, or even against me if you wanted to as well. I'm going to start up my GriffDogg group once again this week, and if you want to join that, link in the description below. I'm throwing out props in there that are designed for you guys to win. So you can use this free play money to compete against me, or again, whoever you want to compete against. And the nice thing about that free play money is it converts to real cash. So you might legit never have to deposit a single dollar on Lucra. You can just build a bankroll with this free play money. Again, all you need to do is scan the QR code on the screen right now. That's going to download the app for you. include my referral code GRIFF, and give you that $25 in free play money to get started on the app. Alright, now let's hop into these tight ends here, and I just don't foresee myself spending up at the tight end position this week. As much as I'd love to get in someone like Mark Andrews or Darren Waller in my cash lineup, I want to spend up at the quarterback position and likely the wide receiver position, which leads me to spend down somewhere, and I prefer to do that at the tight end and defensive positions when it comes to my cash lineup. First guy I got there then is TJ Hawkinson, sitting at a really nice price here of $4,100, especially considering that Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be out this week and likely DeAndre Swift. I don't know if I love the idea of playing Hawkinson and Williams in the same cash lineup, but I also kind of look at it this way. Between the two, that's $10,200. At 3x value, we need about 30.6 DraftKings points. I think those two are capable of getting there, especially in this home matchup against Seattle. That defense definitely doesn't scare me. And you can see in the notes there off to the right-hand side, what we've seen here through the first 3 weeks is Hawkinson and Amon-Ra St. Brown have a very similar ADOT or average depth of target, which is kind of taken away from Hawkinson early on. All those targets are going to Amon-Ra. Now, being that he's out here this week, again, Hawkinson could see an uptick in targets, and that's a really nice price for him to do that at $4,100. And then I got Robert Tonyan there of the Green Bay Packers. We're just seeing him play a little bit more each and every week, coming off of that knee injury last year, and I do like the matchup here against the Patriots, who have not been very good at stopping the tight end this year. Again, you can see in the notes there off to the right-hand side, allowing 18.4 DraftKings points per game to tight ends, 4th most in the NFL, albeit Mark Andrews lit them up just last week. Tonyan's a guy that Aaron Rodgers does trust, and I think he's just going to get more involved going forward, especially in the red zone. And then I got one honorable mention there in Tyler Conklin of the New York Jets. And look, if we had word that Joe Flacco was still going to be starting for the Jets this week, Tyler Conklin might be my favorite tight end play for my cash lineup. But it sounds like Zach Wilson is going to get the start here in week 4. And I just don't know what to expect from this Jets team, but things are definitely going to change. What I will say, though, is Conklin's been heavily involved here in the first 3 weeks with Joe Flacco. 7+ targets in every single game, 10+ DraftKings points in every single game, and even with CJ Uzomah coming back last week, Conklin still had a very legit role. So I have a little pause here due to the quarterback change, but he's still very cheap at $3,600, and I love the way he's played so far this year. And then we got the defenses there, and for those of you who have been watching my videos for some time now, you might be going, defense at $3,500? That just doesn't seem right. And look, you're absolutely right, because I notoriously don't spend up at the defensive position in my cash lineups. But man, the Cowboys look really nice here at $3,500, and if I don't get them in my cash lineup, I want to get some exposure to them in my tournament lineups. They're dominating this year on the defensive line. Micah Parsons is a real problem, leading the entire NFL with 13 sacks through 3 weeks, while the Commanders, who they're playing against at home, have allowed the second most sacks with 15 through 3 weeks, and that's largely due to Carson Wentz. He holds on to the ball way too much, doesn't have a lot of pocket awareness, and I think Micah Parsons is just going to eat up that offensive line. So yes, I notoriously don't spend up for defenses, but if I got some money laying around, I don't mind playing the Cowboys. Now, if I do need to save some money here, I don't mind the Texans at $2,400, one of the bare minimum price defenses here this week. They're playing the LA Chargers, and I know that doesn't look great on paper, but Keenan Allen might miss again here this week, and that offensive line is beat up right now for the Chargers. Lost their starting left tackle last week in Rashawn Slater, who's been very legit in the first 2 years of his NFL career. And this Texans defense has sneakily racked up 10 sacks through the first 3 weeks of the season at $2,400 and one of the cheapest defenses on the slate. I don't mind that as my punt defense. I don't mind the Titans here either at $2,500. The Colts offense just hasn't looked all that great this year. I wouldn't love playing Michael Pittman going against my defense, which is kind of why I lean towards the Texans, but at $2,500, again, I think they're viable. And as always, we're going to wrap up this spreadsheet here with a low-priced option or sub-4K wide receiver play, and I'll be very upfront. You can see it in the notes. I do not care for this 3K range for the wide receiver position here in week 4. When it comes to my cash lineups, I think there's some solid GPP plays. I'll touch on that in my video tomorrow, but I just don't foresee the need to pay down here in the 3K range in my cash lineup this week. But if I were to do that, David Sills the fifth, which is just bizarre. Looks all right to me. Played 63% of the offensive snaps for the Giants last week, and that was with Sterling Shepard in. Being that Shepard is going to be out here in week 4, Sills should see an expanded role, just like James Jr., who I talked about earlier, and he does have 4 targets here in back-to-back weeks. He's the bare minimum price at the wide receiver position for $3,000 and would only need 9 DraftKings points in order to meet 3x value. But again, I think we can probably avoid this range in general this week. There's a lot of value elsewhere. All right, everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. I got another video coming out on Saturday morning breaking down my favorite tournament or GPP plays, so make sure you stay tuned for that. In the meantime, folks, let's have ourselves a great day. I'm out of here.